Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is CMGTalk. This is Captain Gallacher. This is me. This is an episode that is reflecting and pondering on when time stands still. In life, there are times and moments where time seems to stand still. It can be when we see something that is so overwhelmingly wondrous to us that we can feel exhilarated, alive, and we'll often feel so overwhelmed with those joyous feelings. I remember standing in the Grand Canyon and experiencing such a sense of overwhelming awe. There have been many times where I have felt that time has stood still. Sometimes it can be at times when we are in shock. I remember driving my car and being in a really precarious situation. I had left a garage. The bonnet wasn't secured and it was torrential rain and I was driving and the bonnet flew up and wedged on the windscreen. And I remember using my wing mirrors and using my rear mirror as there was cars on the inside lane and I was in the outside lane and I was trying to navigate into the inside lane to stop the car because I had no visibility ahead of me. And I remember quietly being so aware the silence. I felt no panic. I was at peace and total calm. Time had stood still as I began to take control of the situation. I remember navigating, signalling, and managing to get the car into the inside lane and bringing the car safely to a stop. The realization hit me after I had been out in the torrential rain, hazard lights on. The police eventually managed to attend because it was back-to-back traffic. The cars were speeding in torrential rain. And a friend actually had saw me and had stopped and I was totally adrenaline rushing through my body. And I was still directing traffic away from the car to make sure there wasn't an accident. And I remember the police saying to me they had witnessed what had happened and they were sure that there was going to be a serious accident, but they couldn't actually believe how I executed everything so quickly and calmly and managed to get the car safely into the inside lane and then went out into the torrential rain and directed cars away to stop a pile-up until the emergency services got there. You see, the bonnet had wedged in to the window and I couldn't bring it. I couldn't pull it forward. I couldn't remove it. I didn't have the strength to remove it. I tried with pliers and everything to try and loosen it and I couldn't. Now, whatever you believe, I believe that I was being looked after because truly that was a very precarious situation, but time had stood still. And I remember feeling a complete calm and a sense of calm. And whenever I'm driving, that might pop into my head, but I still remember that situation. And I remember the friend that stopped, obviously. I was more concerned about her safety when she stopped, because I was like, don't stop, just keep going. I think the reality is that there are times where it can be wondrous situations where time can stand still. But it can also be shocking situations, traumatic situations, where we may experience time in slow motion or standing still. I remember being in a situation where recently I was at a funeral, and remembering and connecting to that time, that moment for myself, having experienced a very significant loss. In grief, time stands still. Never more so when you're sitting in a hearse and you're looking outside the window and other people's life is going on. Or when you're in the house, curtains drawn, your life has stood still because you've lost someone significant in your life. Your life seems meaningless. Things that had meaning before might have lost significance or meaning in totality at that moment. We lose a sense of direction and purpose. Our life stands still in grief and loss. And loss takes different shapes and form. It might not necessarily be a death of a loved one. It could be the ending of a relationship. We may feel trauma. We may feel totally disconnected. We may be completely disconnected with who, as a single person, that makes us. Time has stood still as we are trying to figure out the rebuilding of ourself and of our life. It may be that you are dancing with the love of your life, and in that moment, you're completely consumed with the feelings and emotions of love. Time has stood still. Everything else you've tuned out of. And all that matters is the here and now. Time stands still when we are in awe and wonder. Whether it's the Grand Canyon and watching the beauty of a sunset or a sunrise, or looking into the eyes of a child, or holding the hands of someone that you love as they pass, or going through grief and loss. time stands still. And as I'm talking about time stand still, are you thinking about moments and times in your life where you've found yourself saying, it's like time stood still. I lost track of time. I was consumed with what the here and now was. What was going on right there, that was everything. There are many examples, and many more examples I can think of when time has stood still. And people shared times in their life where time has stood still. The heightened emotions, the joyful, amazing, wonderful exhilaration, or the real pain and anguish. Or when we're feeling shock, disbelief. The unexpected that happens, we're consumed by it. It takes over. When time stands still, we're at our most heightened. It can be exhausting, but it can also be exhilarating, depending on what we're talking about. Appreciating that when we're in that situation, and understanding that others around us might experience that sensation too, depending on what they're going through. Those moments and those times in our life are significant. They mark significant events, part of our legacy in life. They make and they shape us. We have a choice of how they do that. It's how we choose to look at things. And of course that comes from our understanding and our view and our values, our processing, our perspective. When I was standing at the top of the Grand Canyon and I was looking at the vastness, and I was looking at the sun and where it was placed, I remember actively taking time to breathe in and process my thoughts and my feelings. And I was so in the moment, so completely in the moment. I'd lost track of time. It wasn't until I heard somebody right up at me going, "Are you ready now?" And I turned and they said, "Did you not hear We were calling you and calling you and calling you, and I said, no. I said, time's just stood still. What time is it? And they told me. So much time had gone by. But I knew that this was 1 in a million. This was 1 in a million opportunity. Because I don't live by the Grand Canyon, right? And there are many places I've visited where I've experienced such beauty and such sense of total awe. Can you think of a time that you've experienced that? It doesn't have to be seeing a wonder of the world. It could be seeing or experiencing. It might even be you've been on a holiday and you've been totally in the moment. You might be relaxed and sunning yourself and caught up in what's going on. Maybe time stands still because of what you see and what you're experiencing. Sometimes you can be sitting at a family meal and there's lots of noise and lots going on. You just want to capture. You just wish you could capture that moment. The laughter, the noise, the expression, the feeling, the sensations, the smell, the food, everything. The conversation. You want time to stand still. This, just want this. I want this. I want to capture this. Rare occasions where we think, how often am I going to experience this again? So whether it's a celebration or whether you're looking at healing and recovering from something that's been challenging, pay attention to those moments that time stands still. Be present and understand the process. Thanks for listening. Until next time. And if I don't have you checking in before 2024, here's to a wonderful time. And see you in 2024. Like, share and download episodes that you're enjoying. And for my supporters in my supporters channel, there will be an episode dropping shortly. Thanks for listening. Take good care. Bye for now. This is Catherine Gallacher and this is CMGTalk. This is all about those times where time stands still.